So I'm getting pretty close to reaching the new Chaos level 35, and I've gotta say, I have basically no interest in grinding another character up to Chaos level 35 again. The whole process feels so long and painful, and honestly there's just no incentive for it. The Chaos Chamber and the endgame of Wonderlands in general need some serious work if I'm going to continue to be a longtime player of this particular game in the series. So in this video we're going to be talking about all of the things that Wonderlands endgame needs to improve upon to become truly great. But before we get into the video, I definitely want to know your opinion on the matter. Do you like Wonderlands endgame, or do you also think it needs some work? Let me know in the comments down below. So the first issue I have with the Chaos Chamber and even endgame as a whole is that it just feels so stale. In order to get to the current final difficulty in Wonderlands, Chaos 35, you have to beat a Chaos Trial 25 times. 25 runs for the same couple of types of enemies, 25 runs of the exact same mechanics with the exact same endgame rewards. And while I do appreciate the fact that the enemy types do randomize on every run, after about 25 runs through it seems like you've seen them all a million times. Plus, once you've beaten the final Chaos Trial and reached Chaos level 35, what's there left to do? Play some more Chaos Trials. That's pretty much it. Now you could argue and say that the new DLC gave us a little bit more to do at endgame, with a whole new 5 rooms of playthrough on repeat, but it's pretty much the exact same thing with essentially no incentive, and that's my whole point. There's nothing to do other than Chaos Chambers after beating the story. Yes, you could farm dedicated drops, but unless you got tens of hours to spend hunting for lucky dice, there's essentially no point to that either. You want to farm a boss that doesn't respawn? Go to the Chaos Chamber and try to get it to spawn. You want to fight the only raid bosses in this game? Go to the Chaos Chamber. Want to find god roll armor, rings, and amulets? Go to the Chaos Chamber and farm the bunnies. That's all it is. Chaos Chamber, Chaos Chamber, Chaos Chamber. There's no circles of slaughter, no proving grounds, no takedowns, no standalone bosses, none of that. Just more Chaos Chambers. Another big issue I have with the Chaos Chamber is that there's almost no incentive to even bother with it. Well, let me rephrase that. There's no decent incentive to play the Chaos Chambers. The only incentive as players we have to play the Chaos Chamber is because there's nowhere else to get loot. A huge portion of the named enemies in this game don't respawn, and there's no other content to run for loot. So players are essentially forced into this loop of playing Chaos Chambers to get loot, to beat Chaos Chambers faster, to play Chaos Chambers for more loot. Honestly, I don't mind a way to farm world drops, which is what the loot bunnies are good for, but the fact that there is no way to farm specific items feels like a huge departure from the Borderlands franchise. Plus, once you get the amazing gear you're looking for, there's basically nothing to do with it. I think that Wonderlands could really gain from having a Chaos level exclusive weapons or even rarities like Pearlescence that only drop after certain Chaos levels, as it would give players an actual reason to get to Chaos 35 or whatever the max is in a couple of months or so. There also seems to be a lot of balance issues within the Chaos Chambers themselves. There are a bunch of bosses that can absolutely destroy a Chaos Trial run, namely Son of a Witch and Drill. Now, of course this isn't just the Chaos Chamber, but it's honestly a way bigger issue in the Chaos Chamber than anywhere else. I hit a brick wall going from Chaos 6 to 7 because I happened to get Son of a Witch as my final boss, and it took me a solid 4 or 5 runs to actually finish this fight. This can be incredibly frustrating and prevents a lot of people from advancing past a certain point in the game. Hopefully Gearbox does balance out some of these specific bosses in future patches to prevent this insane brick walls in the Chaos Chamber. All in all, the biggest issue with endgame and Tiny Tina's Wonderlands is just a lack of variety. I feel like Borderlands as a franchise has always had a lot of things to do at endgame, and Wonderlands just doesn't have that. The only actual endgame content in Wonderlands is the Chaos Chamber, and I seriously hope that Gearbox adds more endgame content to Wonderlands through DLC and future patches, because right now, the current endgame loop is starting to feel pretty stale. And the fact that all of the endgame content is tied to the Chaos Chambers in one way or another isn't helpful, since by the time I've gotten to Chaos 35, the last thing I want to do is more Chaos Chambers.